My brother's girlfriend is harassing my family, so I'm pressing charges.
Press those charges.
So trigger warning, mention of miscarriage. The people in this situation of mine, aside from myself, are my husband, Mark, 35, my brothers, Owen, 29, Jack, 28, Kyle, 27, Rob, 27, and Finn, 26. This is too many people. Whiteboard.
Too many. Oh, whiteboard.
Along with my best friend, Margot, 32, Owen's fiance, Trish, 29, Kyle's partner, Ro, 28, and Finn's new serious girlfriend, Annie, 23. By the way, this comes from Exciting Muffin, 9029 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, for additional context, I was the parentified sister and basically raised my brothers. I helped them learn how to cook and clean, helped them with homework, took them to extracurriculars, helped them figure out scholarships, trade school, colleges, and basically made them into the men they are today. My brothers are very aware of the situation that I was having to take on parental duties and thus do not treat me like one. I am their sister and they treat me as such, which of course means having a few crazy sibling traditions, which is where my situation stems from. I, 30 female, just had my birthday pass. I think it's just the birthday has passed, not a birthday pass. I can do whatever I want.
Do whatever I want on my birthday. Those are the rules.
It's my birthday. I can light a car on fire because it's my birthday.
Guys, my birthday's coming up.
That means I can commit armed robbery.
Months.
That means I can avoid the draft.
Our birthday.
Mark decided to help Owen organize a celebration dinner. Since everybody had something to celebrate, Owen just engaged Trish. Jack got a huge pay raise. Kyle started an online shop. Rob bought his first house. It's a motorhome. And Finn just started his first serious relationship. So Owen organized a huge dinner party at a pretty fancy place with my brothers and husband, each planning to split the tab with Margot and omit me since it was technically my birthday and thus I shouldn't pay because you got a birthday pass. When you got a birthday pass, you do not pay.
You don't got to pay.
You don't got to pay. That's one thing I know. Fast forward to the dinner and we're seated in the back due to having so many people because it's a party. And everybody is having a great time laughing and sharing more information about their life when Margot has an old video pop up on her phone memories. It's a video of a birthday dinner when I was a teen. And it showed my brothers giving me my birthday bruises like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You may have heard of the concept of a birthday old 1-2s. Well, basically, it's the same concept. However, due to my brothers being massive hulks of meat and me being no more than 5'1", they opt to flick me instead, so I'll get a tiny bruise instead of looking like I was jumped. Rob decides to start with the birthday bruises tradition, each of my brothers opting to flick me 6 times, so this way I get an even 30 flicks, with Margot and Mark even giving me 2 for good luck. Did it look strange? Probably. But we already stood out in the restaurant since we had so many people, and it's not like we made a big show. I simply went around the table to each of my brothers to get my flicks. Trish and Rob were laughing, well aware of the familial situation, and it was all good fun. But I did notice Annie. Yeah, who's Annie?
Annie, I believe, is stepsister?
Annie.
Or like someone's girlfriend?
Oh, Kyle's partner, Ro.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's Ro and Rob. Annie. Annie is the serious girlfriend.
Yeah, serious girlfriend. Or sorry, not stepsister. I meant to say sister-in-law. Yeah, but not quite yet. Not quite sister-in-law yet.
New serious girlfriend.
Yes.
But I did notice Annie didn't really seem to be comfortable. Who's Annie?
Finn's new serious girlfriend.
Yep. So when she went to the bathroom, I decided to check on her. Old habits pass away hard. I didn't approach her until she was washing her hands and asked her, "Are you okay, Annie?" if everything was okay. And she simply sneered and said we were embarrassing and low class.
Oh, who made you the queen of the world?
Yeah, all right. Turn your nose. I didn't know you were so unfun. Didn't know you were Queen
Little
Elizabeth.
Miss, I know best.
Honestly, like, yeah, she is very much a Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah.
I mean, but Queen Elizabeth now, not Queen Elizabeth like
dead one.
Yeah, the dead one. That's how much you are the life of the party. You're just dead.
Yeah, you killed the party vibes.
You killed that party. Just like, shout out to her.
We were there.
We were there. We were there. We didn't do it.
We didn't do it.
God.
But we were there.
We were there. I told her I didn't understand the attitude. that tonight was meant to be happy and we were just being ourselves. To be completely honest, my words were along the lines of, this is who we are. We're siblings. We hit each other. It's not that deep. She once again sneered and said, well, this is a place where it's not okay to be yourselves, with a mocking tone. She then stormed out of the bathroom, so I returned to the table. She was sulky the rest of the dinner, and when the bill came, she tried to drag Finn off. She kind of sucks.
Oh, wait.
Sorry, that behavior sucks.
Is she trying to make it so Finn doesn't
pay? I think so.
Because that's also really weird. We already know he gets a birthday pass.
Birthday pass.
Finn doesn't get a birthday pass.
It's not his birthday.
Certainly not Annie.
Huh.
Certainly not Annie.
Yeah.
Well,
not up in.
This started a little quarrel with my other brothers, who all agreed beforehand to split the bill. Annie stepped in and said, I could pay for them since white trash makes do.
Whoa.
Those are
Where did this
fighting
come
words.
from?
Those are fighting words.
Also, really quick, to say that phrase in front of a bunch of people that you don't really know.
And also a bunch of people that you've
all
just
know
accused,
each other.
Well, that, yes. But also a bunch of people that you would just accuse of being like kind of violent and like.
Yeah, exactly.
Base.
Yeah, you're like if
So
you're
if you
accusing me
truly
of
think
violence,
that-
then you're about to have that violence brought down on you.
Yeah.
That is a wild thing to say. I mean, at least she has the confidence to speak her mind. Like, that's the silver lining I'm seeing here, but don't do that. Annie is trying to fight. That is true, Daisha Powell. This started a fight with Margot, who threw wine on her.
Whoa.
And said, you want white trash? You got it.
See, that's what I'm saying. If you call someone white trash,
expect them to act like white trash, which I guess is what Margot did. I tried to take control, but Annie was already trying to get on Margot, which is, I don't know, Annie, kind of a trashy thing to do. Ro and Trish took her outside, and the rest of us settled the bill and apologized for the disturbance to staff. When we left, we saw Annie swinging at Trish with Ro trying to get in between. I immediately stepped in and told Annie to leave. You need to leave. That until she apologizes that she wasn't allowed at any family gatherings, and told Finn that if she ever tries anything to call us immediately. Finn said that wouldn't be a problem and broke up with her right then and there, telling her to call a cab.
Nice.
Boom. Boom. Family comes first. Ho,
Yeah.
ho, ho. Yeah, Sophia, if anyone did that to you, boom.
Yeah, boom.
Done. Instantly.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Pow.
You come at my sister, I break up with you right then and there.
See, I wouldn't be throwing hands because I'm a pacifist.
Yeah.
And a
She's
conscientious objector.
Let the record show.
Let the record show.
That I have
would
said
not
before there was a draft,
throw
I'm a
hands.
conscientious objector. You know what? I'm going to also say I am also a conscientious objector.
Yeah, I mean, you are.
I am. When have I ever thrown hands?
I don't think you ever have.
No, I've wrestled.
Yeah, but that was like part of the. That was like professional.
Professionally? No. I did break up a few. I used force to break up a few fights in Australia.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, who?
I had to rip one of my friends off of this guy who was kind of being really creepy and laying hands on one of the girls in our group. Yeah. Yikes.
Well, anyway, Sam's a conscientious objector.
I'm a conscientious
You can't
objector.
draft
I
him.
only use force to end force.
I don't think that would. If that's what you saw.
I think that's war, actually.
Yeah, no,
Unfortunately, that is.
I mean, I never use force.
That is literally what the government says for every war, I think.
Well, he was apparently very upset to be called white trash and didn't like how she talked to me. He also later said she looks like she would accuse me of something and that she apparently has done that to her ex. Ooh. That is not a good look, my friend. The problem I am currently dealing with is Annie's social circle. Annie comes from a pretty affluent part of our community, went to a private school and had a personal chef and nanny, kind of rich. Her and a bunch of her wealthy friends have tried to defame me, sending emails to my boss and coworkers. I told them to reply that they would be forwarding the email to me, and I will sue for intimidation and defamation if she continues to do so to me or any of my family members. The emails haven't bothered most of my coworkers, but I have a select dozen that already didn't like me and now are using this to make my work life hell. Why does Annie suck so much?
So much.
So much.
Anyway, you suck so much.
Yeah, this is a little whack. It's a little whack.
Yeah. It's just like so funny that Annie, the person who like
it's like, oh, I'm so classy, is doing the least classy
like
thing.
she's getting into physical fights. She's this is not what I would define as classy.
Yeah. Harassment ain't classy, girl.
It ain't classy.
Ain't classy.
It's,
assy.
Yeah, but I wasn't gonna say it.
Is that a swear?
Yeah.
Sassy?
Oh.
Yeah, the S was silent. Well, I've already spoken to my bosses about it, and they are monitoring those coworker emails to assure Annie isn't sending anything. Margot told me I should go ahead with my threat the next time someone gets an email and file defamation charges along with intimidation and emotional damages. The thing is, Annie is 23. She's barely out of school, and this will wreck her life.
Okay.
Maybe she needs...
I'm sorry, I'm not getting into physical fights at 23, so...
Yeah, 23 is old enough to know better.
Yeah, she's got to learn the day. Yeah.
Also, barely out of school.
Yeah.
2 years.
I know she's attempting to wreck mine, but I can't help but feel like taking her to court is excessive. Am I being too nice? Would I be the a-hole if I follow through and press charges? What do we think, Sophia? Is OP the a-hole for following through and pressing charges?
The thing is that I think you would only be the a-hole if you lied about things or exaggerated things, and then she went to court and went to jail for that. If she goes, there is no, right now, we don't know for certain that she would go, have a record or anything.
Yeah.
If you go press charges, and if she does get a record, or if anything changes that ruins her life, it's
like
her fault.
Her actions have consequences.
Your actions have consequences.
I do think that, so like we've read stories. I think there was a story about like a 13-year-old who stole this guy's bike, and then
I remember that story.
You remember that story? And then the guy was like super vindictive, and he's like, I'm making sure this kid goes to jail.
And I remember I said that seems intense for a 13-year-old, and everyone got mad at me.
Yeah, but I feel like yes, make sure the kid has consequences, but I don't know if they necessarily need to be super intense. What this person is doing is it's consistent.
Also, there's
harassment.
No way that she would get jail time.
I don't know if she would get jail time, but it's consistent. Harassment.
Yeah, it's not like she attacked you in the parking lot one time or anything. Like the thing that she did first and then stopped.
Yeah,
she is continue to go after you.
Yeah, I think it would be one thing if it's like you sent one email and you're like, I'm getting the police on you, but this is too much, and it's affecting OP's mental health and potentially a career.
Yeah,
like this is,
and also she totally ruined your birthday, so that's not cool.
And even if you were to go overboard, you have a birthday pass.
You have a birthday pass,
and I don't think you've used it yet.
Cannot
do anything.
So,
in conclusion, OP, you are not the a-hole. I think if she's continue doing this, I think you should probably do something about it, because
I agree.
Doesn't she have other stuff to do? Like,
doesn't she have work?
Yeah, or like a life?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Does she have a hobby?
But Reddit said not the a-hole, and we got some relevant comments. So OP on Annie being around family and how OP's brothers are well off. OP says, I think it's because she never has really been around the family. Finn has his own business and makes pretty good money for his age. He actually helped Kyle set up his shop and offered to co-sign Rob's loan for the motorhome. Rob was too stubborn to take it, though. Not many people would guess he's from a humble beginning, since he already paid off his condo and owns his cars. So all other people see, including Annie, are his money-lined pockets instead of a boy who could barely pass algebra. I love a come-up story. And commenter 1 says, you're not going to wreck her life. You're going to rattle her chain, shake up her status quo. Who knows? Maybe it'll make her into a actual person. I say let fly, not the a-hole. We got an update. I agree.
I agree.
So, update. Woo. Firstly, I want to thank everybody in my prior post. I have the tendency to overthink, and it makes decisions like this incredibly hard. A lot has happened in the past 10 days, so I'll just give the events in order of happening. 2 days after my post went up, Margot's car got egged. Annie, what are you doing?
Annie, in this economy?
And this,
Girl,
dude, eggs are like
in this economy?
$1 a piece.
I bought 6 eggs and they were $6.
Actually?
Yes.
That's insane.
Yes.
Eggs are white round gold.
That's too many dollars for eggs, and you're just throwing them at the car.
I mean, she is well off. She's thrown organic eggs over there.
She's got egg money.
She's got egg money.
She's got chicken money.
She's got that chicken money. She and 2 of her neighbors caught the perpetrators on camera, and 2 of Annie's flying monkeys, which I am now calling them because someone in the OG post called them that, and I laughed so hard at the accuracy, were taken into custody. And boy, were these girls rats. They sold out Annie in a heartbeat. I almost pitied the poor girl until I came out of work and found the words, "You deserved your miscarriage," spray painted on my car hood. Annie.
That's just full harassment.
Annie, did you not learn your lesson?
Annie, you are not okay.
Are you okay, Annie?
Mm-hmm.
Information: I suffered a miscarriage at the beginning of the year after one of my students, I work in a behavioral school, punted me down the stairwell. I had been trying to help another teacher, and there was a security guard also present, but the kid punted my shin. Nobody caught me in time. I was 6 months along while it happened and suffered it while at work. It was a whole scene with ambulance, admin staff, dresser staff. Meanwhile, I was bleeding and crying. I was given PTO for 2 weeks. By the time I returned to work, everybody knew. I got plenty of soft looks. Everybody made my food and tried to make me feel better. Even the ladies who didn't like me. I was just thankful summer vacation was coming up.
Did that kid get just expelled?
Well, I think it's a behavioral school, I believe. So it's like kids basically that are, their thing is just kicking people downstairs. Sorry, don't zoom in on me. Don't look at me. But I believe that is what those kind of schools are. But yeah,
That's
so
awful.
heartbreaking. And Annie's using that. Like she's using that as fuel.
Like, wow, you monster. And I OP keeps saying like, oh, she's 23, she's 23. I'm like, 23?
Yeah.
Girl, what?
Yeah, you're 23. You are old enough. I took photos of the vandalism and presented it to my boss since the paint was still wet, which means there should be camera evidence. Annie's about to actually get some jail time. Like I think this is enough, right? I mean, this is enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They told me to sit tight and they would take care of it. After 30 minutes, my boss, one of the coworkers didn't like me, and 2 security officers came back. Turns out the coworker who didn't like me had fed Annie that information and was promptly fired on the spot after being forced to apologize to me.
Props.
Oh,
Props.
I mean, I just
the school
OP
system actually doing something.
Yeah, which this does not
always,
often
yeah.
happen. Double trouble, Annie. You're getting it next.
You're getting what you
You're
deserve.
getting it next. Also, really quick, what's Annie's home life like? Why is she acting out like
I feel
this?
like she's this rich girl, and her parents never
Cared.
care.
Oh, that's so sad. I feel like if you're rich, you should just spend more time with your kids. Like, why do you have
Dude,
kids?
If I was rich, I'd be like spending all of my time.
I would
delegate all my tasks, and I'd just like do all my hobbies.
And I would just look at that kid, and then I would make the kid believe in magic. Like my dad would like do magic tricks and
the thing with the
ball.
washer, what's it called, the washer?
Yeah.
Where he's
The
like,
ping
it will
pong ball
move
and
on
stuff.
its own.
If you really believe. Yeah, dude. I would teach my kid piano and horseback
And chess.
and chess.
And be going hikes.
Yeah, and we go on. Yeah. Oh.
One of Angie's friends is like
Riley.
a baby. What's up? Hey,
What's up, Riles?
what's going on?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you guys too.
You're looking cute.
Thanks. I've been hitting my head with a keyboard trying to fix the upstairs computer all day.
Has it
That's
worked?
really defined your curls.
I had to thanks. Yeah, you can tell. You can see some keys in there. Angie has a friend that's a babysitter for like a rich family,
Mm-hmm.
and the rich family has like 2 babysitters. It's her and another woman, and the woman, like the mom, doesn't even work.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. Because I'm like, I would understand if you had a really busy job, but like if I
What does she
didn't
do
have-
all day?
Like, I would want to be like spending as much time as possible with my kids if I had the money to do so.
Yeah. I feel like the point of having
Yeah.
money and having kids is to
to-
see how you can spend more time with your kids.
Yeah.
And you had a friend that also worked with like rich people, right?
Oh, no, Sam.
Remember, you told me a crazy story that they did But didn't she babysit rich people, kids?
Which story are you?
The 15-year-olds.
Oh no, that was a family friend.
Family friend.
So like they come from like so my ex-girlfriend's family friend came from like one of the like the biggest like their family owned one of the biggest skincare companies. And they're that's where that story comes from.
Got it.
But yeah,
So I didn't know if there was like a similar vibe. If they're like, oh, let's just hire all these babysitters to watch my kids, and I don't have to parent.
Yeah.
Well, back to Annie.
Back to Annie. Are you okay? They also had security look through the parking lot footage and got the license plate on Annie's car, screeching out of the parking lot with her tossing a can of spray paint out the window and denting another car in the process.
So
and
she's
she's
gonna get
littering.
hit for littering too.
Oh.
Littering, double vandalism. Yoicks.
Police were called and the spray can was taken as evidence. I was advised to get a lawyer and press charges. Let's go. At this point, I decided to talk to a lawyer. So I looked at lawyers when I got home and consulted one the next day via virtual consultation. He offered to do the case pro bono as he had a bone to pick with Annie's mother. Not my business to tell, but whoa, was that story crazier than mine? We drafted all evidence into a compiled document and went through with pressing the charges for the damage to my car, as well as intimidation and emotional distress. Let me tell y'all, I was expecting there to be a blowout when this happened, but karma ate her up. Annie is about to get her comeuppance.
Ooh, Annie, watch out, girl.
Let's go. Apparently, Annie has more than just what she did to me. Coworker whose car she dented when she threw out the spray can was pressing charges.
Oh.
Margot was also pressing charges for emotional distress.
Oh.
Also turns out she has been going after my brothers,
Oh, Annie.
sending her flying monkeys. They were review bombing Kyle's shop. They slashed 3 tires on Rob's mobile home. She had even been sending complaints to Owen's boss
Annie.
through customer service lines, and she had stolen Jack's fence around his house. Who the S steals a fence?
How
Apparently,
did someone steal a fence?
the amounting charges finally caught Daddy's attention because he had everybody who was pressing charges come to one of his properties to talk it out. One of his properties. Hey, they about to get paid. Whoa.
Yup. She's been looking for Daddy's attention.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
He had paid her bail and was keeping her in close proximity to assure he didn't get into any more mischief. Margot said she would be bringing her lawyer and advised everybody else to do the same. So it was actually pretty funny watching Annie's face as we all pulled up with our lawyers, with the exception of Finn, who was just coming as a character witness and had a file of evidence all on his own. He'd been pestering him and blackmailing him and was ready to feed these absolutely danging evidences to the pack of lawyers who were attending. It's worth to note that I had not gotten to the spray paint removed, so when Annie's father saw it, you could see the boiling, quiet rage in his glare. Annie's father, who I will dub Hunter, also had his lawyer present. The sit-down lasted 2 days with all the lawyers going over the different charges and appropriate ways to punish them. My coworker was simply paid out with some extra financial compensation and a few coupons from Hunter's businesses. Jack was returned his fence and Hunter paid to have it reinstalled, repainted, and for a 10-year warranty. Jack still stayed as emotional support since Mark was away on business. All the false reviews were removed from Kyle's shop and Hunter paid for any lost revenue. That talk was done between Hunter and Kyle in private, so I don't know how much was paid. I feel like it should be like, 2-3 times what was lost,
Yeah. I mean, also,
Make
how
it and
did
then
she steal
some.
the fence?
I have no idea.
I don't understand.
Honestly, Annie feels a little crafty.
I agree.
Hunter also contacted Owen's boss, who apparently they went to school with, and set the record straight. Hunter also decided to pay for Trish and Owen's honeymoon as excess compensation. That just left Margot, Rob, and I. The lawyers, us 3, and Hunter agreed to culminate the charges into one case, and Hunter was able to wrangle the district attorney to come and strike a plea deal. I can't say much about that case since it's ongoing, but just know Annie will be paying for her crimes.
Literally.
Hunter offered to get me a new car. I had been driving the same car for 10 years, and I told him I'd settle for a used one. Why?
Dude, Hunter,
Get your bag, girl.
dude, why are we not trying to get our money? If someone says I'll buy a new car for you and their daughter trashed your car and
Get
gave
your
you emotional
bag,
distress,
yeah.
get that car.
Hunter made a fuss saying, I didn't raise my daughter like this. This is all her mother. Like,
Ooh.
wow, this woman must be a demon if even her own husband throws her under the bus like that. So Hunter is taking me car shopping. Wifey is apparently pissed that Hunter isn't covering for their little princess. And Annie is getting her just desserts. Funny how money is indeed a very powerful thing, as Hunter even got the case to be moved to a priority list and thus proceedings will be sped up. To top everything off, Hunter said all the payouts will be coming out of Annie's inheritance.
Nice.
I feel like OP, I don't know why OP didn't take the bag, you know?
Well, no, she is.
Mm.
He convinced her.
Yeah, but I feel like she should have been advocating for more of a bag.
Mm.
You know, it's like she's like, oh no, I'd like just get me a used car, like get a freaking, I don't know, like what's a nice car? A Maybach,
A BMW,
a BMW,
a Prius,
a Prius, but one of the new sleek ones. What's a good car, Riley? A Ferrari.
Dude, a Ferrari, Lamborghini.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like OP
That's
doesn't
too
want
showy.
that.
That's
Too
I
showy.
honestly, she might get like a Ford Bronco.
Oh,
It feels like
dude,
that.
Ford Bronco. Ford Broncos are sick. Like a 1960s Ford Bronco.
Yeah.
And he has to pay for the maintenance because those things will break down.
If I had
Oh.
the opportunity to get any car that I wanted, I think it's Dev Patel. He bought this like old car, like really beautiful vintage car.
Yeah.
Found a guy to retrofit it to become an electric car for like $30,000 or something.
That's pretty cool. I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
would do
every
that.
car guy would be on like if Christian heard that, he would be like, "You're ruining the car."
Yeah, but I don't care about
But I
cars.
don't care. Yeah. A Lincoln Nautilus, a Porsche. Yeah, guys, what is your dream car? Sage Flower says, I laughed. A Prius.
Priuses are a good car.
Which is why he was okay with giving out so much excess compensation. And God, Annie's face. I wish I could have photographed it. I have no issues updating once the proceedings are finished. I will make sure to keep a spare tab open just so I don't lose this throwaway. It seems to be a pretty happy ending for me. I didn't expect it to be solved in under 10 days, but Hunter is a very nice man. Maybe the Gen Zs shouldn't eat this rich guy. He's a good one. He even invited Mark Tristan Rowe out for drinks to discuss compensation for the scene at dinner too. Right now, I'm just relaxing on my sofa while Mark makes popcorn. We're about to binge some cartoons. We like spending our Sundays like that. Glad I was able to update you all. Thank you for your words of encouragement. I will be back one last time after the court proceedings and maybe another if my lord gives me permission to tell his story about Annie's mom. And we have an edit.
Woo!
We have an edit. I see a lot of people misinterpreting how these charges are being processed, and this is mostly in part to my poor wording, so allow me to clarify. Annie has a record, but Hunter always bailed her out. The cops advised me to lawyer up and press charges because Annie has a history of doing things like this and getting away with it. The process is still long, and the cops did collect evidence. It was due to Annie's familial name that makes things a lot quicker. Hunter is a tycoon of sorts, with many of his affiliations paying for Annie's lifestyle. He has a lot of fingers, a lot of pies, and thus holds a lot of power in our town. The sit-down was to minimize Annie's criminal charges to see what would be worth going to court for or not. This is why Owen, my coworker Kyle, and Jack got paid out. However, the charges from Rob, Margot, and I are still being processed. The DA was called after the sit-down. As I said in a comment, it is not uncommon for lawyers to sit with a perpetrator to find common ground. We all had to sign documents of the sit-down stating what was done and what was accomplished. From there, I don't have any idea, as I haven't heard from my lawyer about court dates. It will still take months for charges to go through and for us to go to court, even on the priority list. If there's any confusion, please comment, and I'll try to clear things up. And we got some relevant comments. OP not leading a lawyer to press charges against Annie. OP respond, note, I was advised to lawyer up due to Annie's familial reputation, and Hunter actually had the DA come once all our cases has been compiled and organized. So like, I mean, if Hunter had not been so awesome and giving and like chill about this, he could have poured a bunch of money into his lawyers and probably made it very difficult for OP or anyone to get their bag.
Yeah, but
So you
seems
kind of
to
need
be
a
a
lawyer
better
for that.
man.
Yeah. He wanted to minimize Annie's criminal charges, hence the sit down to which he paid out my coworker Kyle, Owen, and Jack, and we all had to sign documents about the sit down and what we got out of it, which will be used in the court case as to prevent us from pursuing heftier sums. It isn't uncommon for lawyers to consult victims and perpetrators to try to find common ground. This is what the sit down was, and that is where that story ends. But we got another story for you coming right up.
Ooh-wee.
But wow, I'm glad Annie got her. Glad Annie got her comeuppance. And
Me too. And everyone else got what they deserved in terms of
Good things.
retribution.
Yeah, retribution.
My uncle tried to one-up me the day my dad passed, but I got my revenge.
Get that revenge.
And trigger warning, parent death from cancer. I, 26 female, lost my father, 52 male, permanently to cancer 2.5 years ago. I took time off from school to help my mom provide his end-of-life care at home. It was agonizing. We didn't sleep for 8 days, but I am at peace knowing that I did everything I possibly could to honor my father and support my mother. By the way, this comes from Economy Set 6383. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Woo.
So, everyone loved my dad. He was funny, the life of the party, and everyone said he looked like a particularly famous, attractive celebrity. He was the youngest of 3, but had a very patriarchal role in his Italian family, so it really changed the family dynamic when he passed. He and his older sister Jill, 55 female, were Irish twins, born within 12 months of each other, and behaved like twins in a lot of ways. His older brother, Jack, 58 male, is a different story. I've always felt that he was a little resentful towards my dad. He's a one-upper and can't let anyone have a story or thought more interesting than one of his own.
Yikes.
Doesn't sound pleasant to be around.
Boring.
I once said that I was having a rough day because I had to bathe all 3 of my dogs by myself. And his response was, well, you've never had to bathe the cat, so you have it easy. Every conversation
To be
with him
fair,
is like
bathing
this.
cats does sound way harder.
Yeah. Now, Jack can also be wholesome. He loves his family, regularly drives hours from where he lives to spend the weekend visiting and helping out his mother, my grandmother, and even offers to help my mom with any manual tasks my dad would have been responsible for. He and I are the 2 fantasy-loving nerds in a family of jocks. He sends me book recommendations and checks in every few months. I love my uncle, but his insecurities have led to some personality traits that can sometimes make surface interaction with him difficult. When my dad was declining, he took me on a drive and we talked about all of the things he was going to miss. One of which was my wedding. He told me that a few months prior, my boyfriend Ben, then 25 male, now 27 male, had asked for his blessing to marry me without my knowledge. Ben and I had been talking about getting engaged, but had previously agreed to wait until I finished grad school. But faced with the reality that my dad would never live to walk me down the aisle, I asked Ben if he would consider getting engaged earlier so that my dad would at least get to celebrate that with us.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking and cute at the same time.
He agreed, and we ended up getting engaged 20 days before my dad passed away.
Oh.
My mom and I did not sleep in the 8 days leading to his passing. We had to watch him 24/7, providing pain medication, water, back massages to relieve the pain of what we would later learn was tumors breaking his ribs. And trying to soak up every last moment of his life. 3 nights before he passed away, I got a text from Jack. He and Jill had checked in a few times, but were respecting my dad's wishes that no one else see him in this state. The text was not a check-in. It was a picture of Jack's oldest son, Charlie, 28 male, and his girlfriend, Kate, with a new ring on their finger. Very tone deaf. Very tone deaf. What?
In the days before?
In the days before your brother and your niece's father is about to pass.
I mean, I guess like maybe they were thinking, oh, like he would want to know about this moment before he passes away. Maybe that was like in the same way that OP wanted him to know about the engagement before he passed.
Well,
maybe it was something like that.
The caption read, "Charlie couldn't let you be the only one engaged in the family."
That changes things.
I was taken aback. First of all, I'm caring for my passing away father. I don't have the emotional capacity to get excited about a cousin getting engaged right now. Second, why phrase it like that? Is now really the time to tell me I'm not allowed to have anything special? And finally, wow, way to let me know how emotionally disconnected my cousin is from the current family tragedy.
That is, yeah.
In hindsight, I'm not upset about Charlie and Kate getting engaged when they did. I know Kate wanted a professional photographer at the proposal, and it's very possible it was a plan that just couldn't be moved. But Jack announcing it to me in that way in the middle of something so devastating was incredibly tone deaf. He could have very easily waited to bring it up. I did not respond to the text. This is where any grace I've afforded Jack sharply declines. The morning my dad passed away was the worst day of my life.
Oh man, I put ICs in the chat. I just know that it's Jack, right? If Jack pulls anything today, that day,
Yeah.
I mean, which I feel like is gonna happen. I mean, how are you that tone deaf?
Alice, yeah.
Oh,
My mom was inconsolable, so all the phone calls to the doctor, the hospice nurse, the funeral home, his siblings, and worst of all, my little brother. He's in the military and could not get leave until the celebration of life fell to me. We allowed his mom and siblings to come say goodbye while we waited for the funeral home to come collect his body. During that time, I read aloud the obituary my mom and I had been writing in the notes app on her phone. Jack had to step out for a moment to breathe, which was understandable, so I handed him the phone to read by himself when he got back. Instead of reading for content, he proudly announced, "I found a typo."
okay. You know what? Maybe he's just really wants it to be grammatically correct.
My mom broke out of her near catatonia.
Near
Catatonia.
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 Broke out of being near catatonic to tell him off and stormed out of the room. He followed her, but instead of apologizing, said, "Well, in my defense, I thought OP wrote it."
What?
Well,
So you wanted to hurt OP's feelings?
I wasn't there for that conversation. I was right next to Jill when she said she was glad my mom called Jack on his BS.
I mean, again, maybe Jack doesn't read emotional cues well.
I think it's pretty clear though.
Yeah, maybe he's not trying to. Maybe he's just yeah. Jams Pond says some people grieve differently. Unfortunately, some people turn to jokes. Maybe he's trying to make jokes, or he's trying to he's trying to make sense of this.
Not very well.
Maybe he's not trying to be. Maybe he's not trying to be annoying. He just is.
Eventually, everyone left my mom and me alone to process. She called her sister, and I called Ben over to the house to comfort me. Somewhere in there, I edited and posted my dad's obituary on Facebook with all the details of his celebration of life.
Did you correct the typo?
Jokes on Jack. There were multiple typos he missed. So no.
Okay.
It's almost like that's what happens when your first draft is written on your phone. I roll. Later that evening, I got a text from Jill. We live in a small town, and as people were finding out about my dad, they were reaching out to Jill so as not to bother my mom and me. Jill told me that she was directing people who wanted to bring us food to bring it to her house.
That's nice.
We're a 5-minute walk away, and stay for a drink in my dad's honor. It was turning into a small local wake. She wanted my mom and me to know it was happening, but put no pressure on us to join if we didn't feel ready. We decided to go, but my mom was still on the phone with her sister, so Ben and I arrived first. It was really good to see so many people who loved my dad. I was so beyond tired by that point that it took the edge off of reality. So I was even able to talk and laugh without crying. All of the food people had brought was set out potluck style, which was great because there was no way we'd be able to fit it all in Mom's freezer. As Ben and I were loading up our plates, there came Jack. Maybe he thought it would be a good distraction. Maybe it's because he hadn't seen Ben yet. But the first thing Jack said to us was, "Not to rush you guys, but Charlie and Kate already have a venue." Like it was a race, and we were losing.
Maybe he just needs a win, you know?
I mean, again, they're in the middle of this wake.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, by the way, I know you got like something going on over here, but like you
But-
should really think about this wedding
Yeah.
because we're going to beat you.
Really think.
And then you're going to be a loser.
And
A
then he
loser.
moonwalks out of there, and Opie's like,
yeah.
it's my father's funeral.
Man, how is this guy? I just don't understand how he's like.
Oh, just.
Is he doing this on purpose? He must be doing this on purpose, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's
Why?
doing it on purpose to
Why?
an extent, at least. He's saying these things on purpose.
Because
But-
all of his life, he's been the lesser cousin, the lesser family member.
Yep.
And for once in his life, the golden cousin
Yeah.
is falling from his throne, and he thinks, "Oh, I should read for typos instead of reading for the room."
Ooh. Okay, Riley. Okay.
I was so beyond shocked. There are so many things I wanted to say. We've always wanted a long engagement. When was I supposed to wedding plan in the 3 weeks leading up to my dad's passing? What the F is wrong with you? But I was so exhausted and grief-stricken that no words came. Luckily, Jill, who I hadn't even noticed come inside, immediately jumped in. Jack, it's not a competition. This is not a competition. And Ben, bless him, smiled and came right back with, and even if it was, going first is a disadvantage because it's so much easier to one up.
Mm-hmm. We're going to blow your wedding out of the water.
Jack's face fell and he left the room. I would love to say it ended there, but in all of the grief and trauma processing, my anger at the things Jack said to me only festered. As I began wedding planning, there was a part of me that couldn't stop thinking about what Ben said. If I wanted, I really could one up Charlie and Kate's wedding, but I held myself back because it felt wrong to direct anger from my uncle at my cousin. And then I found out what Charlie said at my dad's celebration. My closest cousin is Jill's daughter, Tess. Apparently at the celebration, Charlie heard that my mom was upset at Jack for the things he said, and Charlie told Tess, I don't get why she's mad when my parents gave them all that money. The money he's referring to is from when the doctors told my parents that my dad only had a few months left. My grandmother, Jill, and Jack all decided to split the price to charter a private jet to send my parents, brother, and me on one final family vacation to my dad's favorite place in the world. It was incredibly expensive, but they insisted as my dad was not physically well enough to fly commercially, so this was the only way we could do it.
Wow.
My parents paid for everything. Once we reached our destination, the family was thanked profusely, and we bought them all meaningful gifts. This place is known for its butterfly museum, and my dad would bring me a new preserved butterfly display every time he visited. So we brought back one for each of them. It's worth noting that Jack called to tell me his wife would never hang something like that in her house and regifted it. That's fine. No one is obligated to like something they didn't ask for. But why did Jack feel the need to tell me she'd done so? So apparently in Charlie's mind, writing a check grants you permission to be an a-hole to two women who have just become a widow and half orphaned. Noted.
Half orphaned. I've never heard that term before.
Maybe Charlie didn't know
Half rough.
exactly.
Sorry, no, full rough.
Maybe Charlie didn't know exactly what his dad said, but that's an interesting attitude to have even without all the details. Then Mom was the only person not granted a +1 to Charlie and Kate's wedding.
Oh, wait. Well,
OP's mom, who just lost her husband, was not granted a +1.
is it like I don't know if they were having a small wedding.
It wasn't because of attendance restrictions either.
Man, I'm really trying to be devil's advocate here, and then OP just be like, nope.
There were multiple families with children there. Apparently, they talked to Jack and other family members about it and decided that as a widow, it was more appropriate for her to go alone. That was the last straw.
Couldn't you go with a friend or something?
Yeah, but they didn't want her to. So
I
as
think
Charlie,
like the best thing to do when someone's like life partner passes away to just isolate them. It'll make them feel
just
better.
like don't talk to them ever again.
Yeah, don't talk to them. Don't let them have friends around.
No,
for
of
sure.
course not.
That would be too much.
So as Charlie and Kate's wedding approached, my mom and I started taking notes. Their save the date didn't have their names on it. Their invitation was black with clear relief font. So it was completely illegible unless you held it up to the light at an angle. In their engagement photos, they tried to do that aloof stare instead of smiling, but they just looked angry or uncomfortable in most of them. Their wedding website had one poorly written paragraph about the night they met at a bar. I didn't say anything to anyone about it. I wasn't trying to be mean, but anytime they did something that just seemed underthought or underplanned, I made note of it. They got married between Christmas and New Year's, another negative in my opinion. That's everyone's break time. A little over a year after my dad's passing, when we got to the venue, there was a massive 8x10 photo of my dad holding Charlie as a toddler next to the card table. They did not have a close relationship. Charlie literally got engaged while he was dying, so its presence felt like they were capitalizing on grief in a way they weren't entitled to. We weren't warned it would be there, and my mom and I both had to excuse ourselves to cry out the surprise, anger, and unbidden wave of grief. We stayed for a bit after dinner, but left as soon as it felt appropriate. I don't ever intend to say anything mean about their wedding. I mean, girl.
I feel
we're
like
hearing
you
it all
might.
here.
I think you might
I
be
think
saying
you've
something.
said.
I think we're getting to that point.
My mom and I are both perfectionist maximalists, and I can honestly say that nothing we planned would be different if we weren't partially motivated by spite. But I get a petty amount of pleasure knowing that my wedding is going to outshine theirs in every way. Here is a complete list of upgrades my wedding has in comparison to Charlie and Kate's. Our invitations are legible.
Get wrecked.
Everyone unmarried gets a +1.
Boom. More fun people to mingle with.
Our wedding website has a short history of our whole relationship, not just a paragraph about the night we met.
I don't know if everyone's going to read that, but still cute.
They had 3 sprigs of eucalyptus on their table as decor. We have full floral arrangements.
A little more bobacious the floral arrangement, the better the wedding.
Their venue had awful acoustics. Ours is meant for live music. They had a DJ who never let a song go past its first chorus. We had a 10-piece band.
That's pretty cool.
They had a candy bar. We had a fire pit with a s'mores bar.
Get wrecked.
That's yummy.
Fire is cool.
Speaking of bars, their 2 bartenders could not keep up with demand, so we're having 4. As was always planned, there will be a small memorial table for my dad with a photo of the 2 of us nestled in some flowers and a candle burning all night. It will be separate from the card table so as not to force everyone to visit it. If it would make them uncomfortable, we'll be warning the family it's there. Yes, I recognize that we're privileged to have some of these things, particularly the budget for a band, but again, I never plan to say anything about it. I'm not trying to flaunt wealth or status. Kate's parents are in roughly the same financial place as my mom, nor have I made my wedding about them in any way. By the way, I'm going to make this about us, because you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to the story. Do you have any final thoughts?
I mean, it sounds like whether or not this guy is being an intentional a-hole or an unintentional a-hole, his actions are hurting the people around him. And so I feel like at a certain point, regardless of intention, you just have to put some distance for your own sanity.
Yeah.
And it feels like OP is starting to do that.
I agree. And yeah, it just seems like your cousin and Jack not behaving well at all. And just enjoy that you had a great wedding.
Yeah.
Or are having a great wedding, I guess.
Agreed.
Queen Procrastination says never had a s'more.
That's crazy. Fix that right now. You could get a graham cracker.
Just get a graham cracker, a marshmallow, and some chocolate.
And put the marshmallow over
and over. You can do it in the microwave too. It's not as fun.
Not as fun. But you could put open flame like on
a candle.
The stove.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Yeah. That's your homework.
Yeah. You
Don't
have OK Storytime homework.
But there is a little bit left to this story. I'm marrying a person who loves, protects, and supports me, surrounded by people who do the same. And our wedding has so many little touches particular to our relationship and personalities. This isn't really petty revenge. If anything, it's a dare. If Jack tries to say anything, I have a laundry list of ways to shut him down in a way I just couldn't back then. Because after all, going first is a disadvantage because it's so much easier to one-up. The wedding is in October. I'll post an update if anything goes down. And that is the end of that story.
I think OP taking the distance that she needs is a good idea. I don't know if I would I feel like OP's putting a little bit too much energy into this one-up idea, which I don't think is a good idea for your
No.
I'm not
wedding.
one-upping. You're one-upping.
Yeah, no,
but-
if you did give us like an itemized list
Yeah,
of one-uppins.
I think like don't focus on that. Just focus on getting the space you need from this person,
I agree.
and focus on having a great wedding. It's probably going to be amazing, but you don't need to compare it to anything else.
Yeah.
It's just going to be
Comparison
amazing.
is the thief of joy.
That it is. But I am going to thieve away into the night because we got to end this episode. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe
We love you
and see you tomorrow.